America and so on. It's a wonderful, even financial idea, because I read a nice lefty, what they do, so it's 5 cents from the bottle. What they don't say is the bottle costs $2.50 instead of the usual in McDonald's or where $2, no? So they, even of this they make a profit. But the catch is that when you do this, you know, you no longer, imagine what kind of experience are they selling you when you go to Starbucks. It's not only what I like to be. I'm a dirty consumer, I want a poisonous coffee, I want a Coke which I know it will eat my stomach. No, I'm going to Starbucks, and while I eat a sandwich, I'm supporting farmers here. While I drink coffee, I'm saving I'm saving Colombia children. While I drink water in Somalia, they will have more water, and so on and so on. When I buy and use commodities, this activity itself becomes a thing of experience, of making my life richer, and so on and so on. And to be totally ironic here, this is then the legacy of 68. Authentic experience matters. And now I will be slightly brutal, evil here. I even claim, this is why organic industry is such a big business today, I'm even tempted to claim that, maybe I'm a little bit evil here, but I cannot resist the temptation that most of this organic food is like, maybe it is really better, maybe it's not. Like, my dream is always how they do it, you know, they produce apples. Then they pick out the nice looking apples and they sell them cheaply as, well, what they are, chemically enhanced, whatever. Then the half-rotten apples, they sell them as organic for a higher price. But what's the catch? Why do you buy them? I don't think you really believe that it really will not hurt you, and so on. I also don't think that you want to show in front of your friends, but it makes you feel more authentic. Listen, by buying organic apples, I contribute to the great problems of humanity. You know, you are doing something meaningful by it. No wonder that the last expression of this attitude of subjective authenticity is, and this is horrible, I find this horrible. You know that in the United States now we have a new academic discipline slowly emerging, happiness studies. No wonder that the reality is that, of course, they have more anxiety and depressions more than ever, and so on. But, so, what my point here is a very simple one. My point here is that what was still, how should I call it, revolutionary, subversive about May 68 was more or less integrated into capitalism through this. Okay, there are also, I'm not making fun of it, some very good results, like this is true. Like if you look at the role of, let's take only feminism, like the role of, public role of women and whatever, sexual rights and so on, all this is an achievement of 68. But nonetheless, I claim that at the crucial level, and we should never forget this, we should never forget that 68 was not just kind of a revolt against authority. It was a radical questioning of the existing capitalist system in its totality. The problem is that what remained today is basically, on the one hand, this legalistic, moralistic, politically correct left. On the other hand, even terrorism is dying out, although what we are getting is something that I find interesting. On the one hand, how do you call it? I even forgot, you know, that interesting phenomenon of, my God, the term slipped out of my mind, when people gather at a certain place and just perform a certain meaningless act.
Flash mob.
Yeah, flash mobs, like, you know, like the idea is just to interrupt the rhythm for a minute, like people through internet or phone messages organize it so in a central square, for example, a couple of thousand people just stand like a statue for half a minute you go. But this is almost like Malevich, you know, black square on white surface or whatever. It's just a momentarily interruption. Better than nothing. At least you stop functioning as a machine. The problem for me is that I can well imagine an intelligent manager saying to workers, every time at noon we do a flash mob to make you feel better, etc., so that you will work better, you know. On the other hand, I claim that what happened in France, you remember that famous, now already 3 years ago, I think, or 2, I don't know, the burning cars in the suburbs. Although there it was real violence, but it shares a feature with flash mobs, which was, there was no clear message in the revolt. You know, it was such a shock when journalists came to these young guys and asked them, what do you want? They discovered with horror that there are not even some Islamists who want. No, there was, the first thing they burned were their own cultural centers and mosques and so on. It's the pure forum of protest. So it is as if it's back to the zero level. So what can we do? Many Marxists, for this reason, ex-Marxists, love psychoanalysis. Why? Because psychoanalysis, you know, I claim that this was always the problem with Marxists who like psychoanalysis. Why? They have a problem. They claim their theory is true, but the expected result didn't happen. Like, where is the working class revolution? So then they say, okay, our theory is right. Why is there no working class party and revolution? This is because of the terrible libidinal manipulations of the ruling ideology. Ask psychoanalysts, they will explain it, and so on. No? It comes very handy. No, this kind of Freudo-Marxism, we should reject it. But I still think, in spite of all this pessimism, the situation seems closed today. Closed in the sense of who will do something. I still claim that we should stick to the communist idea. Of course, not in the sense of the old Leninist Communist Party and so on, that's ridiculous. My point is a very simple one, if you allow me just 5 minutes to conclude. My point is that there are a series of tensions, antagonisms, for which I don't see not even a possibility for them to be resolved within the, I don't know how much democratized and so on, global liberal capitalist democratic system. On the one hand, ecology. I'm not an ecological catastrophist. I even think that, as I tried to develop in the very problematic last chapter of my last book, In Defense of Lost Causes, that ecology will maybe even be today, will maybe even replace religion as the new predominant ideology. Why? Because in ideology you need an unquestionable authority. Now God doesn't function. When you have guys like Dalai Lama who basically tell you you are allowed to do whatever you want, like Richard Gere, just do it in a spiritual way and so on. No authority. But then nature, you know, here you have a strong authority. Are you aware that you are playing with our fate and so on and so on? So, but you know, now I don't think that ecology will become a problem in the sense of that capitalism will encounter its external limit. I claim that capitalism has infinite dynamics here. Like, let's say a mega global warming. This opens up incredible space for new capitalist investments. I mean, the Americans are even already joking how now it's the time to buy land in Alaska for beach houses, etc. But where do I see the problem? The problem is the following one, that, of course, many things can be done through reasonable market economic politics, like taxing ecological polluters and so on, but as intelligent ecologists tell you, the problem is that the problems are so serious and unique in their kind that market ultimately cannot provide. Market works how? Through trial and failure, competition and so on. But you cannot, when we are dealing with prospects like Chernobyl or whatever, no, you cannot say, okay, Chernobyl, who is guilty, he will pay the price and so on. It's too much of a catastrophe. I mean, we are now literally approaching an era where we are not all powerful, but we are powerful enough to ruin ourselves. And when we have this radical possibilities. Market no longer works. So all I'm saying is that a new form of collective activity, collective deciding, my God, even the big powers, that's why they are meeting in Bali and so on, admit this. We can call this communism or not, but some kind of a global forum of deciding, transnational, will have to be reinvented, one way or another. I'm not talking about old Leninist party, I'm not naive, I'm just saying that a new way which will reach way beyond the usual liberal democratic market economy possible measures. Second point where I see a problem are the new, the problems of intellectual property. I claim that here maybe we are again discussing